Hey people, I am doing yet another of these show and tell pickup video type things. Um, Bear with me. I stutter and stammer sometimes because I don't like talking to a camera. I have a weird thing about looking at myself and talking. I don't know, it just feels awkward. And I don't know if anybody's ever watching these things and stuff like that. I get self-conscious and stuff, so bear with me. Blu-rays. I buy them on occasion. I don't do it as often as I used to, but this is like a pile of stuff that I've picked up over the last several months. Not nearly as much as I would normally have picked up. First, what I'll talk about is Spider-Man: No Way Home. Thoroughly enjoyed this. I like these Spider-Man movies from the MCU. It's pretty much the only ones that I really care about at this point anymore. Tried watching Doctor Strange, and I'll try again because it was cool enough, and I didn't like the first one as much as I would like to have, but I fell asleep, and I gotta watch it and enjoy it. Maybe. Speaking of watching something and maybe enjoying it or not, I bought this back when it came out. I saw it prior to that. Halloween Kills. This is the extended cut. I haven't watched this yet. We watched the one that they had on demand. Everything that you've heard about this, if you haven't watched it, is true. Good, bad, whatever you have heard, all of that is true. All the criticisms, all the praise, it's applicable. I'm somewhere middling on this. I enjoyed it for what it was. I do not like Halloween sequels at all. I like the original movie. That's about it. But the idea of a sequel to the original movie that negates all the rest intrigued me because it's already been done, and they did that one with such so much studio interference from Miramax that I think it was worth probably doing it again, even though it was so long later. But I think the best thing really about any of this newfangled Halloween series that is coming along has been the fact that John Carpenter and his son have done the soundtracks for him, which is awesome. And that's kind of the best thing about it. Also, those are really mean-spirited and super gory and kind of like, fuck, man, seriously? In some cases, I'm just like, shit. And I think some of that is probably due to Rob Zombie Halloween influence. People kind of expect it to be more intensely gory than in the past entries in those movies have been. And I've noticed that that's kind of been for any like R-rated movie or anything that has blood in it. Things are much gorier than they used to be. Stuff in the 80s and 90s were always censored so heavily, and now it's just like fucking any movie, anything that's just like Joe Entertainment going to the movie theater is gonna see some kind of fucking bloodbath. We went to see Bad Boys 3. It was the last thing we saw in a theater before lockdowns. And that movie was extremely gory. It was as gory as any horror movie that I've seen. So, yeah, that's just kind of how things are now. Horror movies are going to have to up their game. Here's a bootleg that I bought off of a group that I'm in on Facebook. I've mentioned this many times, but the group exists on Facebook. It's like a collecting group for physical media. And there's a dude that's been selling a bunch of bootleg things, and he's kind of recently come under fire by the rest of the group and a director of one of the movies that he made a bootleg supercut of. I'll talk about this for just a moment. I don't want to waste a bunch of time. Anyway, what I bought from him is this copy of The Devils. I have never seen this movie. It's a Ken Russell movie. It's supposed to be his big masterpiece. Vanessa Redgrave and Oliver Reed are in this movie. This is the uncut version, completely uncut. It's supposed to be HD. I think this is the version that was on Shudder. It's never been released in the U.S. physically, at least not uncut. And this is a nice bootleg that I haven't watched yet. Now, part of the problem with watching these bootlegs on these burned discs is that I only have video game consoles that play Blu-rays, and they stutter and stammer like I do when I speak in front of a camera when they're playing back because the I don't know, the laser or the machinery or whatever doesn't like those types of discs. I was told to get a dedicated Blu-ray player, and I guess I'll go to 220 Electronics when I have $300. Let's burn it a hole in my pocket and buy a region-free player that's dedicated so I can enjoy some of these while they last. I mean, I hear that burned DVDs and shit like that seem to have a short shelf life. Anyway, I got this from the same guy. This is a mashup of Scream 4 that has all the deleted scenes and stuff that was cut out of the movie put back in. It's a little bit of a longer cut of the film. Not my favorite thing, but I thought it would be kind of neat to get. He called this the Out of Darkness cut. It has two-sided artwork. The disc has printed artwork on it. Looks pretty good, nice and official looking. Alternate cover here. Kind of looks like a Final Destination poster. That's another one that he was doing. He mashed up, the guy that made this, he mashed up all of the, not all of, but I think a few of the Final Destination movies to make them one long one. And he did another one where it was the first two Halloween movies edited together as one film, one long continuous film, and then he did 4, 5, and 6 edited together as one long film. And then recently he did Hatchet 1, 2, and 3 edited together as one long continuous film. And Adam Green, the director of those movies, not the third one, the first two, went on Twitter and said, "Don't buy these, this guy is a fucking thief," and stuff like that. And now people are very, very mad at him. The same people that would buy shit from him are all hating on him. Anyway, back to the pickups. Here's Scream 5, the most recent one. I gave this code away, Tom, sorry. I gave that one before I had considered it, that you might have wanted it. And last of the Blu-rays I picked up, I got this one just recently, is one that I've been waiting on for a really long time, a couple of years. And it's the Criterion Collection release of Pink Flamingos. I haven't opened that. Hear that? You don't hear that. You don't hear that. You know why? Because this is like just regular old shrink wrap and not cellophane, so you can't hear it. Hear that? No, you don't. But anyway, I love the wraparound artwork that looks like a parcel because, you know, if you've seen the movie, then you fucking know why this is hilarious. Also, the mailing label, which is just terrific. If you don't know the movie, well, just, I guess, watch it. I turned a lot of people onto this one when I was a young person. And it went over pretty well with a bunch of my friends. Singing Gaping Asshole, singing The Surfing Bird, and a drag queen eating a piece of dog shit. You can't go wrong. Man, my friends, they wanted me to rent all the movies after they saw that one. So video games, here we go. I got this Pac-Man Museum Plus. Bublin showed this on his channel, and I was otherwise I wouldn't have known about this because I just walk past video games anymore and not look at them. And this is a pretty cool collection. The only thing I'm going to gripe about is that it seems to omit Pac-Man Plus and Junior Pac-Man. There's one that I totally had forgotten about. Junior Pac-Man. I had a memory unlocked like yesterday when it occurred to me that it existed. I looked it up on YouTube. just to make sure that I wasn't imagining things. And yeah, that shit existed. I remember it. When I was a kid, there was an arcade called Malibu Grand Prix. It wasn't just an arcade. It was like a little place where you could drive around on these go-karts on a racetrack. And there was an arcade there. And they had a big, big row of pinball machines, and they had another row of new games, and they had a whole bunch of classic games. And then at one point, they had all the Pac-Man games that they had all lined up in chronological order, side by side in a row. And Pac-Man, or Junior Pac-Man, was there. They didn't have Baby Pac-Man, another game that's not on here, just because I don't think it could be done unless they use some sort of fancy pants emulation to make the pinball game work, and that would be like, I don't know, rebuilding the game from the ground up, wouldn't it? I don't know. This has a lot of games I never heard of, like Pac-Moto and Pac and Roll, Pac-Man 256, two different versions of Pac Arrangement. Hey, get away from there. My cat. And come meet everybody. So it has this weird game called Pac and Pal. I forgot that even existed. I think I've played that on a different compilation or something. Come here. Come on. Come here, kitty. This is my friend Nala. She says hello. She's a loudmouth. She's also a bitch. Ugh. But she's also really small, and I can't believe that she's like 11 years old. She looks like a kitten. Super Pac-Man, that shit was my jam when I was a kid. Also, Pac-Land is another one that I just like for some reason, even though I don't think it's very good. I used to be very obsessed with Pac-Land because I had only seen it in places like arcades, dedicated arcades, and not at places like Circle K or 7-Eleven or a pizza parlor or anything like that. And I couldn't fucking find it. I was looking and hoping that one of the times that I would go into a convenience store that they would have that game, and they just never did. To the point where I actually had a dream that I ran into basically the same game, but it was Cowboy Pac-Man. I had a dream that I played a Cowboy Pac-Man game that looked like Pac-Land. My brain is weird. And the reason I like Pac-Land so much was I was around that age is because I was kind of reminiscing about the cartoon from when it was on Saturday mornings, and the game is based on that TV cartoon. It has the same music and the same art style and all that shit. And this has Pac Attack on it, which was a game that I always had great interest in the 90s when Toys R Us was discounting a whole bunch of Super Nintendo, NES, Genesis, Game Gear, Virtual Boy, Gamecom, Jaguar stuff. The PlayStation was new, the Saturn was new and on the way out. The Jaguar was on the way out pretty much the second it hit the floor. I managed to get a bunch of like pretty cheap games there. And Pac Attack was never cheap, and neither was Pac in Time. Both of those are on here, Super Nintendo games. Pac in Time I expected would be cool, and I was always kind of hoping that I could find it for cheap. Never was the case. Finally played it now, and it's not something that I would have enjoyed had I played it then. I got duped back then into buying Pac-Man 2 on Genesis, and my god, that was a pile of dog shit. This Pac-Man 256 game that's on here is pretty cool. I think I saw something about that one on Facebook, but I can't. I played it, and I rather enjoyed it. I'll have to get down with that one a little bit more. We play mostly Pac Attack, excuse me, yeah, and Pac-Mania. Those are kind of the favorites up here in the house. Got this Sonic Mania. I'm not a big Sonic fan, but my wife likes Sonic games. And this looks like one that she can enjoy, and probably one that I can help her out with if she gets stuck or something. Another one that I found and had no idea existed was this collection of Aladdin and Lion King games. I guess these are, it says 16-bit classics. I think there's a Game Gear game or two on here. And the Aladdin is the Genesis version, not the Super Nintendo one. It doesn't have that one on here. Lion King, I've never played any of those Lion King games. I remember seeing Game Gear version all the time at Toys R Us. And here's a thing that I bought because I I had a dilemma as to whether or not I was going to buy these limited run released physical copies of Doom, Doom 2, Quake, Doom 64, and Doom 3, I think. And I got the Slayer's Edition as the download codes for Doom, Doom 2, and Doom 3. And those are just as good as anything else. That was only $20 instead of paying $40 for each one just to have a disc and a little trading card and maybe a stupid slipcover or some kind of crap on it. Anyway, next one that I forgot to show this one last time. A while back, like quite a while back, I got this Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat, the official video game of the Next Level forums. And if you get that deep cut, you are my new best friend. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat buff, but I do have fucking every one of them, I think. No, I don't. I don't have all of them. I don't have MK Trilogy, and I don't have any other ones on the 16-bit systems and stuff like that. So, no. But I used to have MK Trilogy for, not MK Trilogy, Ultimate MK3 for Saturn. And I'm hoping that maybe NetherRealm will make an improved MK Trilogy just using the old one and fixing the bugs. There are a lot of them, game crashing bugs, and combining all three versions, the the N64, Saturn, and PlayStation versions all had one thing that was unique about each one. If they just rolled all of them together and fixed the bugs, I'd be happy with that. Don't think that's been done, but I guess correct me if I'm wrong. Injustice 2, I picked this one up at the same time I got that Mortal Kombat, and I played this one very, very little. I don't like Injustice 2 because it has such a weird, like almost RPG aspect to it, where you're like unlocking a bunch of weird crap that you can put on your characters and make them actually look different. But there's a good character roster that I like about that game. Otherwise, I'm just not interested in that. I picked this one up very recently, and it is still. You hear that? You hear that? That's still Saran wrapped. And I'm looking forward to playing this Capcom Fighting Collection. Cyberbots, the arcade version of it. I've never played the arcade version of Cyberbots. I've only played the Saturn version, which I'm guessing is close enough, but it has load times. And Red Earth, I've not played that one, surprisingly. And it has all these different versions of Darkstalkers that I'm guessing they're just the same game over and over again with different color characters. That was how Vampire Hunter was. And I picked up a couple of toys, a few toys. Here is a Troll Force superhero. Look at that. It's basically like an old Galaxy Warriors figure, which was a knockoff of Masters of the Universe, but with a troll head. This came out in the 90s, I think. Got a cape there made out of felt. Piece of armor that I put there myself. Got his hair. He's in really good condition for how old it is. No sticky gunk built up on the limbs. And, yeah, I like this type of shit. You guys know that. So that's one of them. And then I have this other Troll Force figure from I think about 4 years ago I bought this. I showed a picture a while back to Josh. Told him I would do videos about shit like this, and I never have. But here he is. It's a soldier, and there's two of each type. So I'm going to show you the back here. Card back is in full color, which is actually atypical of these types of things. You usually wear like black and white and use drawings on the back instead of photos. And so there's the two soldiers, yeah, and the two superheroes. You got a Hulk and a Superman type guy. Two ninjas. I got this black ninja loose somewhere in my house. I have an old beat up Terminator guy here. There's another one here. I have this one with pink, and he's fucked up. And I have this wrestling guy with the mohawk, but his mohawk fell out because he was in storage for like 10 years. And then there's like barbarians. And yeah, these things are still kind of readily available and cheap for some reason, even though they're old. And here's one last one that I picked up from a dude on Facebook. This is something I totally didn't know about. High Five Sports Stars. I'm not a sports person, but this is a pretty neat 5.5 Masters of the Universe style figure. He's a wrestler named Mr. E. He's got a cape. It says Mr. E on the back of the cape. I might open this. I'm debating on whether or not I do or not. And all the characters here are, I think they're all black. You can see that guy's mask there. The back of the card is, like I said, for the other one, just drawings. It was also put on upside down, printed upside down. And here, as you can see, there's 6 figures in this collection. There's a football guy, a baseball guy, basketball, track and field, boxing, and then wrestling. And yeah, it was pretty neat. This is the only one I'm going to buy. I just wanted the one that was a wrestler because he looked kind of cool. That's everything that I bought. And I had a whole bunch of stuff that I was going to throw in here, like comments about Corey or jokes and shit like that, and I forgot to do any of them. So yeah, I'm going to give those figures a 91, and most of these games, they're all worthy of 91s also, except for Mortal Kombat. I think that's worthy of maybe like 80. And then Injustice 2 is worthy of a 70, because I don't like that Barbie dress-up aspect of it. You guys take care. I'll catch you next time.